How's everyone doing? Hey, Ayakami, good to see you. Hey, Ismet, how you doing? Hey, Isabel, it has been a long time. I couldn't figure out my trading.live login, so I finally got that figured out, and I'm back. So good to see you guys on to the stream. Welcome back. Thank you for joining me. Hope you've been well. Hey, Sigo, how you doing? So a quick risk disclaimer first before we get started. This live market analysis is sponsored by Max Global Markets, a brokerage firm that is registered with and regulated by the Monetary Authority of Singapore, the MAS. Max Global Markets has no control over or influence over the content of this analysis, which is generated by an independent party, myself. So please remember that the information in this analysis is offered solely for educational and informational reasons and does not constitute financial advice. Okay, so with that, let's get that out of the way. Hope you've all been well. How did you guys go on the NFP on last Friday's non-farm employment change number? How did you go? Put it into the chat. Let me know how did you go. Okay, and as you're typing that up, a big welcome for anyone who's joining us on the first time. Welcome to the stream. Sound needs filtering. If you, what's the filtering? Okay, let me just check. Sound is too high and poor quality. Okay, let me just do that. Okay, how about that? Is that better? I think that should be a bit better. I got a bit excited. I was starting to yell and go a bit crazy. Okay, thanks for that, Diana. I was just about to say sound check. Thank you. Yes, so if you're new to the session, big welcome. Thank you for joining me. The link is there for the Discord channel. Please make sure that if you haven't already, do join us on Discord because that's where I can update you further beyond this 1 hour session. The non-farm payrolls last Friday was a blockbuster, like Ayakame says. I'll go into that a little bit more in detail. For all the regulars, welcome back. Good to have you with me. If anyone has a question, please feel free to put it into the chat. Let me know. And if you can help me out massively, click that like and subscribe button on YouTube or little rocket ship button on TradingView, and also that little hand clappy button on trading.live. Okay. Thanks for that. Hey, Pips Apprentice, how you doing? Thanks, Engel. Hey, Jan B. Hey, Diana. Hey, David. Good to see you. Hey, BL. Good afternoon, Alam. Hope you're well. All right, I got everyone here. Yes, I did. Good to see everyone. Okay, so let me do this first. Right now, looking at what happened on Friday. Right, this was Friday, 3rd of November, 8:30 p.m. We saw the US non-farm employment change number release. It was 336, got revised down to 297. Expected 178. It got released at 150. Right? If you scroll back to last Friday's session, we were anticipating either 170 something to 250. Some of us were even anticipating a 300 again number. It's not that. It came out at 150, which was a lot lower than expected. And in addition to that, unemployment rate in the US went from 3.8% to a 3.9, a 0.1% rate hike, not rate hike, sorry, a 0.1% unemployment rate increase, while average hourly earnings stayed at 0.2 compared to 0.3, which was expected. All right, so overall, very bad news for the US. Not only do we have a lot lower than expected non-farm employment change number, we have higher than expected unemployment rates, and average hourly earnings growing a bit slower than expected. Pips Apprentice, do not stress. It's most of us, well, actually all of us got it wrong. I don't think anyone was guessing a 150. All right. So as I was saying on Friday, um, the non-farm employment change number. It's really guessing the non-farm employment change number is really something that we do. All right, but it's not something that we expect prices or we expect the numbers to actually climb as get to what we expect. All right, it's just something that you think about, you try and anticipate, but you try and plan for the different scenarios. Okay. Uh, Let me just. Let's see. A couple of you saying the sound is quite faint now. How's it better now? I just heard the lightning, so I think I would say it's the lightning that's causing the sound to fluctuate. All right, I hope the sound is okay. I hope the sound is okay. Let me know. Okay, thanks for that, BL. I think just then I had it super high and then I started yelling and getting too excited. That's why it was a bit distorted, but I think it should be better now. Okay. All right, all right. A bit better. Should I try and make it a lot better or let's see. What else can I do to make it better? Okay. So what happened here on the non-farm employment change was, if you look at a dollar index, it was sitting right at that 105 dot or almost at 106 number. Release of the non-farm, which we saw unemployment rates go to 3.9. We saw 150K and it went straight down. It just went from, I'll take that away because it's messing with my mouse. Right, it went straight down from 106 down within the hour to 105.30, which we kind of thought it might get there, but it went beyond that down to 104.95, almost 104.95, consolidating at that point now. Okay, so generally we were looking for a push to the downside, but I can tell you I did not expect such a big drop on the dollar index. Okay, so that's done. We can take that away. Huge drop on the dollar following the release of the non-farm employment change number. Now, D-Train, hey D-Train, how you doing? CHFJPY, we can do that. And hey Goju, how you doing? Okay, so now with that, all right, that's relatively straightforward. Okay, not much else to look into. Relatively straightforward. Super bad news on the US. Saw the dollar index drop massively. That's straightforward. What else did we have? We did see the Canadian employment change at 17.5. It was expected 25.7. So also another bad news with unemployment rate increasing slightly, 0.2% from 5.5 to a 5.7. Okay, so bad news for the Canadians as well, but you'll see that the Canadian dollar did not have or had a move to the downside. This was driven by the dollar, all right, by the weakness in the dollar. I was expecting it to come down and bounce because we were expecting some bad news from the Canadians, but it did not bounce because of their weakness on the dollar. All right, so that played out not as planned. And that explains everything that happened on Friday last week. I did have a couple of good trades on Friday. I did not do the Kiwi, but the Kiwi worked out very nicely, right? It actually worked out all the way to the take profit. That was a good 50 pips to the upside. Let me know if you got onto the Kiwi for that. I was super busy on the yen, right? I was trading yen to the downside on the dollar weakness as it traded lower. So I traded the yen lower on Friday and then also on the euro dollar. right? Because this was to plan. We were looking for it to push up, so it went up 50, and then I continued trading it up as well. Okay, so I had focus on the US yen and the euro dollar on the non-farm Friday last week. A lot of it was short-term trades. Um, I wouldn't say scalping, but somewhere in between scalping and intraday, right? So it's not an in and out within a minute, but it was holding on for a little bit. But then I was in and out of trades through the session. So that was the yen and the euro that kept me busy last Friday. With that said, hey Spiros, how you doing? With that said, today we did have Governor Ueda speaking, right? 185 minutes earlier than scheduled, but all he said was Japan's economy was recovering moderately. It did not have too much of an impact on the yen, right? It didn't. Take that away for now. It did not have too much impact on the yen. It just brought it up slightly. In fact, during the news release, it just sat there, so it didn't do too much on the yen on that news. That's why I didn't update you guys too much in the Discord channel. What else for today? Not much else. Okay, services PMI for the Eurozone, but not much else. What I'm looking out for is into tomorrow with the Aussie cash rate, the RBA, to make a decision on the interest rate decision for Australia. You see here that it's expected to go from 4.1 to a 4.35. A 25 basis point rate hike is anticipated for the Aussie tomorrow, right? Why so is because what happened last week. I'm pretty sure it's last week. Let me just scroll back. Oh, did I miss it? No, 2 weeks ago. I was just writing about that. I posted that in the group for you guys. Yeah. So on 25th of October, last Wednesday, we saw the Aussie inflation growth, CPI year on year, went from 5.25 to a 5.6%, right? It was only expected to climb slightly to 5.3, but it went up to 5.6. And you see that since the 28th of June, it went from 6.8 to 5.6, 5.6 to 5.4, 5.4 to 5.9, and then September it went up a little bit from 4.9 to 5.2. And then in October, it went up from 5.2 to a 5.6. So it shows now that maybe, or not, rather it shows, or it signals now to the RBA that maybe inflation growth in Australia is starting to creep slightly to the upside, right? Most of all, generally we're seeing inflation drop. We're expecting inflation to drop because of what the central bank has been doing. They've been increasing rates. They've kept it on hold recently, but we're seeing that inflation in Australia is starting to creep back up to that 5.6, away from that 2 to 3% target level. So because of that, that might spur the RBA, the Reserve Bank of Australia, to increasing rates 25 basis points to 4.35%. You can see the held rates since the inflation, since CPI has been dropping in June, right? The RBA has been holding rates at 4.1, 4.1 in August, September, October. Now, in November, they're seeing rates, inflation creep up a little bit. So they might push a 25 basis point rate hike decision tomorrow. Okay, so what's that going to mean for the Aussie dollar? I'll tell you more about that shortly as we look at the Aussie dollar. Okay, but generally, nothing much, no major news for the rest of the day. So I think that we might see a little bit more consolidative, maybe when markets open, a bit of a continuation of, a bit of a retracement before continuation of the trend. But then that's the main event for tomorrow. at 11:30 a.m. GMT plus 8. So very early for many of you guys in Belgium, in Greece, in anywhere around the world. Okay? So now looking at the charts. Good morning, Monsieur Delaros. How you doing? Hey Spiros. Hey Jordan. Good morning. How you doing? Hey Ether from Belgium. How you doing? Okay. So now dollar index. Looking at dollar index, that's broken. We can take that away. That level is broken. We can take that away. 104.90. I don't know why we have that level there, but it's because of this point. I'll catch the more recent level here. Okay, so you can see that price stopped just at that 105 level. I'll zoom in a little bit. You can see right there, stopped at 105. So now it's consolidating at 105 with the previous swing level here from the 21st of September, where price came down, tested the 104.68 or 104.70 level before bouncing back up. I am thinking that at this level here, we might actually see a similar scenario. Okay, so I think that, let me just check something. This was the NFP move. Check some levels. Oops, I forgot 50%. Well, I don't need 50, but let's just have it there. It came, so this was the move on Friday. It bounced back up. It held at 23.6 before sitting along 105. At 105, I would say that it's going to consolidate along 105. It's a really stormy weather here in Singapore. I hope you guys are having better weather from wherever you are. Okay, today is the 6th of November. I'm seeing that sit along, consolidate along 105. Breaking that, we'll see 104.70. I'm just thinking now whether it's going to retrace further. Most likely not. Okay, so I'm going to think that it's going to consolidate along 105, breaking round number support could reach 104.70 support. Okay, round number could reach 104.70 support, which looks like it's going to happen. So I think we could see that. Okay, could it get past 104.70? If it gets past that level, then we have the next one here at 104, about 104.50. Very close. But I think, I don't see massive, well, we already saw massive downside on the euro. I think that this support area at 104.70, 104.50 would be most likely going to hold the dollar index at this level. Okay, so I think might even go down to that point. Could reach 104.70 to 104.50 support. I think that I'll consider this whole thing as a bit of a support area. That's fair. That's only 20 pips, so I'll consider it as a support area. Okay, so what you get from here is generally looking at further downside on the dollar index, further weakness on the dollar. So looking at the Kiwi dollar, that's done. Anyone got into the 50 pips on the Kiwi? Put it into the chat, let me know. Did not retrace, but it just went straight up because of the NFP. So we take that away. All right. Now consolidating just at that 0.6 level. All right. So that one's almost done. We can take that away. But I want that 0.6 as a round number level, with our next major resistance at 6045, about 60, I'll just put it to the 6045, and the next major one at 61. Okay, 0.66095, but I can consider as 61. So now at this point, Kiwi dollar, I would like to say that it's going to stay and then push up. But I'm also thinking, I don't think it's going to retrace down to this point. Right? You see that pushing down, and that's pushing down as well on this hour. So that's a bit odd. But what's going to happen is that because 0.6 round number is going to form that resistance, what I want to see is it break above. So 6015. Take profit 75 pips to the upside. Stop loss 25 pips there. And then we'll consider this point as a possible resistance. So in the best case, you have a 1:1, right? A 25 to a 20, almost 25, or a 75 there, or even almost 80. Let's say 75. Okay, so that's what I'll be looking for on the Kiwi. 6015, stop loss 25, take profit 75 with a hesitation at 6045. 0.6045. Okay, there we go. So we're looking for the Kiwi dollar to push to the upside. That's relatively straightforward. We do not have a, let me see there, that's holding that up. I don't see a channel. Why I'm hesitating is I'm thinking whether it could, let me just check something. Yeah, it's not that. I'm just thinking whether it could retrace back down a bit, right? Whether it's going to do that or it's going to sit there and then break to the upside. But even if it does retrace down, I would only be buying if it breaks past that point. So I think that's fair. 6015, 25 to 75. Okay, let's keep to that one. Yeah, I think it could. So Rod Fred was saying that it could do that. All right, that's a possibility, but regardless of whether it retraces or not, I'll only be looking to buy at 6015. I possibly wouldn't be looking to sell it back down at this point, unless we see the dollar strengthen quite a bit. Then onto the Aussie, right? We put this as a scenario. I think that if you scroll back to the session on Friday, we were saying straightforward, you'd be looking to buy it up, but as a possibility, could it reverse off this point? It did not do that. So we take that one away. Now, this is where it gets interesting for the Aussie because it is sitting too many lines. Why do I have this one? Okay, if you look at this whole thing here, this whole area here is a resistance. In fact, you could even get it up to that point, right? You could even get it up to that point as the resistance, which is 0.6521 or 6522. And it's been sitting there. Very similar to what happened here on the 30th of August, on the 1st of September. It's in the range of 21st of September and also the 29th. And if we look at that further, you can also see that on the 15th of August. Now, if the RBA hike rates, right, if the RBA hike rates by 25 basis points, naturally we would think that it should go up further. Okay, with the next resistance here at, I know I'm scrolling around the charts a lot, but we're heading back into quite far. With the next resistance here at 6585. Okay, so we have that. There we go. What I'm looking at now is if the dollar does continue pushing down, this should push up, right? And you would have, and I would like to see this 6530 stop loss 20 pips, take profit 50 pips to the upside. I would like to see that happen today, but then maybe tomorrow with the Aussie rates, we might see that come back down a bit. Okay, scroll back. Let me see. Do I have it? Let me just check something. Where is it? Okay, Aussie RBA. Rates decision. So generally, let me just see. Okay, I don't have it. I don't think I did it for the RBA, but you know, if you look at the RBA rates decision, typically when they increase rates or when they make a rate decision, we tend to see the the Aussie dollar retrace. I don't have it. Oddly, I don't. Do I have it here? Yeah, oddly, I thought I had it, but I don't. Okay, so you know, sometimes most of the time when I track back, I would see that you know after the Aussie rate decision, we see it drop. In fact, let's do one now. So this was when they held rates on the 3rd of October. Right there. Okay, so 3rd of October, right at that point, when they held rates, we saw the Aussie dollar drop to the downside. As far back as the 6th of June, when they held rates, let me see if I can do that. On the 6th of June, when they held rates, or when they increased rates, this was about there. Okay, they increased rates. We saw it push up, but it was following the trend back up again. Okay, so not always the case, but in this scenario, okay, let's take that one away for now. I would say that this move on the Aussie before the RBA rate decision, and then we have another one here at we have that one. We're heading back into way back here. Okay. The next one here at about this point. Quite close, a bit closer than I would like, but we're just looking at these levels. So I'm looking for this move up and then maybe a continuation to 6623. I'm still thinking whether it's going to retrace. I don't like that that's trying to drop and that's sitting right there. Aussie might do this, but 6530 to 50 would be a reasonable first move for the Aussie. So we'll look to buy 0.6530, stop loss 20, take profit 50 to the upside. Yes. Then if it breaks that resistance from the RBA, or at that point we'll be looking for reaction along this resistance level with the RBA rate decision tomorrow. We might see it reverse or break through. I'll let you guys know as we head nearer to the session. But overall, I'm looking at that maybe retracing back down a little bit to test 0.65 before bouncing back up again. We'll look for that. Then with the yen, right? Inverted head and shoulder did not play out, so we'll take that one away. And 61.8 is broken, take those away. I was selling it down, that one's done, that one's done, take those away. Now it's sitting right there. And hey, it looks like the US did the job for the BOJ, right? It looks like the US did the job for the BOJ because no news of intervention, but yet we've seen the yen reverse strongly from that 151.60 level down towards that 149.20 level, now consolidating at this point. That's now a resistance. Now at this point, consolidating, I would say that these are all done. We've done with those. We'll keep that there for now. We have next support at this point. Further dollar weakness is going to drag the US yen down, but you see that it is on this news, it's right at that 50% level. On the overall move, shorter term move, 38.2. All right, so it's hit some resistance on that retracement, consolidating at this point. And it sounds like I'm repeating the same thing over and over again. It's consolidating, and could it break? Let me just check this. That's still showing me downside. What you could look for, I would say, is this point here. Okay, so the slightly more, I would like to see, okay, I'll tell you what I'd like to see. I'd like to see it test that resistance of 150 before turning back down again. But that would be the most ideal, where we could see a move to test 150. Then you look to sell it down to 149.90. Stop loss tight, no more than 20 pips. Stop, take profit could go down to 60, down to that trend line. That's what I would like to see. If it sits around here and then continues lower, I would say that the aggressive mode you could get in at 149, below 149.20. I think it would be safer if you did 148.90. Stop loss no more than 20 pips, take profit, almost 60 pips to the downside. So either way, right, we're either looking for it to retrace, test, bounce back down, or sit there, break lower. This is a lot of waiting, right? But I don't want to get in just as it breaks a trend line, find this level and bounce. So that's what I'm looking out for on the US yen. It could consolidate here and break lower to the downside as well. So let's highlight that most likely scenario. I think that most likely scenario, I would like to see it test. I think it's going to sit there and do that. Okay, so 148 dot, let's highlight both. Let's put in both. Okay, US yen, we're either looking to sell. So we're not looking to buy the US yen. 149.90, stop loss 20, take profit 60, or we're looking to sell 148.90, stop loss 20, take profit 60. It's just a matter of whether it's going to retrace or not. Right? It's just a matter of whether it's going to retrace or not. At this point, I'm trying to guess that retracement 61.8. So it could just test this point. In the longer term move, 38.2. Yeah, I think that's a more likely scenario. I think that we might see it retrace a little bit, test 150 and turn back down. Okay. We'll look out for that. We will look out for that. I think the more likely scenario will be that one. Okay. Then, with that said, looking at the pound dollar, again, we thought of that as an alternative, but it's really continuation of the trend coming towards that resistance level right now, right, of 1.24. This is the level that we see, 1.2420, and beyond that. So I see this point here. I see 1.24 to 1.24 as an area. So I'll take that one away. Beyond that, again, okay, now what I will highlight to you all is that remember the levels that we're looking at on the Kiwi dollar. All right. Go to H4 just for now, just to show you something. All right, we are now, Kiwi dollar is at 0.6. We're heading into levels that we see in August. Right, we're in November now. We're heading into levels that we see in August on the Kiwi. We're heading into levels that we are looking at in August and in July on the Aussie. On the pound, we're heading into levels that we see in September. Okay, so remember, these are all multi-month high, right? Not multi-years, but multi-month high levels. So you're going to see a bit of a choppy price action at these points. But I do think that this could be levels that you look out for. So now with this, then what I will look for, 1.24 needs to break above this resistance. Again, that dollar weakness to continue. So 1.2430, take profit. A good 90, almost 100 pips to the upside, 95. Stop loss would be 25 pips. Right, break above this point, we could see that. That would be reasonable in the technical setup, and I see this already pushing. So I think this is quite likely. 1.2430. Move that there. This one we look to buy 1.2430. Stop loss 25. Take profit 95. To the upside. I'm happy with that. Then onto the euro. That was a very nice move on the euro. Again, let me know if you got onto that. And hey, if you can, a quick reminder, help me out with the like and subscribe, please. So the euro dollar moved up, and look, it's continuing that move, broke above that double top, continued to the upside. Now, way above the resistance, or well, the near resistance is sitting at this level now at 1.0742. Beyond this point, we have another level, but it's not very far away. 6.7, and this will be quite crucial because we see that overlap. We see, oops. So we see this here. This point here, this area here, this area here on the euro dollar. So because of that, right, and we've been quite bearish on the dollar index. Maybe as an alternative, something to consider is, could the euro dollar test and reject back down? Something to think about. Something to think about. But if it doesn't break above that point, because it's so near, right? Because it's so near, we might consider it as an alternative. But what you can look out for, I just don't like all these levels being relatively close. I will be looking out at this level, and I'll be considering this level as a possible hesitation. Okay, so there we go, there we go, there we go. Okay, one scenario is that it comes up, it tests, it rejects back down. So we know what to do there. We can sell. I don't like identifying counter trends, but that's a counter trend trade. Alternatively, or following the trend, what you can look out for is 1.0775, 1.0780. I want it a little bit higher, right? You have a 20 pip stop loss, you have a 80 pip take profit with a hesitation at that 108 level. Following the trend. The trend is your friend until it ends. 1.0780. Good morning, Jamil. How are you doing? 1.0780. Stop loss 20. Take profit 90. 80. Okay, take profit 80. Take profit 80 with a hesitation at 1.08. Possible hesitation there. Nice one, Jamil. Jamil did the buy on the pound dollar on Friday, I would assume. Good job. Nice one. We see that pushing. Pound dollar is still pushing to the upside. Yes, I think that is going to continue because of the way the dollar is looking like it's dropping. The Kiwi dollar is still sitting there, so still waiting. Aussie dollar is still sitting there. Kiwi and Aussie being a little bit odd, so I think that there might be some retracement before continuation. Same with the yen, still sitting there, while the pound and the euro is pushing to the upside, following that move on the dollar. Then onto the US Swiss franc, did not retrace as much as I expected before coming back down, but it did come back down to that support level and slightly beyond. Right now, held at this level here at 8967 or 8965. All right, so it's consolidating at this point. Dollar index dropping, should see this go lower. Break below 8950. Take a little bit safer. You say below 8950. Take profit 50 pips, 55. Stop loss 20 to the downside. I'm just looking at that point there. So 8950. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Consolidate to the downside. Of that's pushing lower, that should drop. Okay, I'm happy with that. You see that it's a bit weird. Dollar index is dropping, but this is not moving, so I think it's going to sit there and then pop lower. So 8950, stop loss 20, take profit 55. 8950. Okay, 8950, 20 to 55. 8950, stop loss 20, take profit 55 to the downside. Then with that, look, it's starting to move back down, right? It's starting to move. It was green, and then as the dollar continued to pop lower, it's moving down. In fact, I don't even think it's going to consolidate. It's not consolidate. Break the round number. So break round number of 105 this hour. So in 13 minutes time, could reach 104.70 to 104.50 support. Okay, so we looked at the US yen sitting there, might be pushing a little bit or looking for it to push to the downside. US Swiss franc might be heading a bit lower. So looking at the Swiss yen, right, as D-Train was asking. Don't know why I have so many levels here. Let's clear out some of these levels. We know that we have this point here as a resistance. We have this point here as a support. And this level here as a resistance. Okay, so with the US Swiss franc possibly pushing to the downside, although we are looking at dollar index weakening, that's going to lead to relative strength on the Swiss franc. That might push up. It might go against what the dollar is doing and push up a little bit. So what I'm anticipating here on the Swiss yen is a retest of 6710. And I would say that maybe it will test 6710 and turn back down, forming a double top. Because if the dollar index keeps dropping, right? If the dollar index keeps dropping, the dollar yen is going to push up a little bit, but we're still looking at that push down, back down again, right? So that's going to lead to a test and rejection, possible rejection of 6710 back down. So D-Train, if I were looking, I would say not a pair I trade, but below 67, stop loss 30 pips, take profit maybe 100 to the downside. Hope that aligns with what you're looking at, D-Train. Do let me know. Then with that, looking at the US CAD, expected it to bounce, it didn't do that. We had that straddle, but it only came close to breaking, or only broke this level convincingly early today, so that trade is not there. Now looking at this, I'm okay with this level. Now I'm looking at this and I'm thinking that it could, if the dollar index does push down, we'll see it test that. Let me take this away because I want to highlight this point here. 1.3670. If it does break lower, now that's broken. That trend line is broken. Let me just check some levels. Take that one away. That next support is reasonable. That's my resistance here. You can take that one away for now. Okay, if it sits right there, we can see it go down a little bit more. I think that is too far to wait for it to go past 1.3617. So I think that what we're looking for here is to close below 13640. I just needed to show me that downside, a continuation of that downside. Check the news, CAD PMI. Oh, that's interesting. Barclays see Fed's raising rates in January instead of December. I think that something to try, something to think about, because we have been looking at this going yen, dollar weakness, push up, dollar weakness to push up. That's retracing, right? That's retracing as well. It's all sitting right there. Sweezy is retracing quite a bit. What I'm thinking here is maybe instead of going so heavy on the dollar weakness scenario, what if we thought about a push back up? All right, so maybe even looking at 1.3690. Take profit 100 pips to the upside, stop loss 30 pips. Back up to that 61.8 level. 1.3690. Right, so we're thinking of this as an alternate scenario. 1.3690. Stop loss, oops. Looking to buy 1.3, stop loss 30, take profit 110. There we have it. Okay. So that's an alternate scenario. I think that if it continues heading lower, yes, fair enough. Most likely what's going to happen is that, but we're going to see if there's a counter trend opportunity here on the US CAD. Okay, fair enough. Let me know if it's all good. And then lucky last, looking at gold. Gold push up. Let me just check something. Okay. Gold push up beyond 1992 towards just above 2000 before coming back down because of that dollar weakness we saw. Now at 1983, I would say that for gold, if it breaks below that 1980 level, if it breaks below 1980, I don't think we need that point. We can see that level there. Below 1980, we could see 1970. 1980, which is right there. We can see 1970. Okay, good. So gold, shouldn't be dropping. It shouldn't be dropping because we're expecting that dollar weakness to come around. So dollar weakness should see this push up. Just looking at the technicals, I say that if it breaks past this point, we can see it go lower, but it could also bounce off this point. Looking at the dollar, that's retracing. Dollar's retracing a little bit right now. I'm a bit undecided. I'm a bit undecided on gold at this level here at 1980. All right, because I feel that it could bounce back up, or if it breaks below, it could do that. So just trying to figure out which is more likely scenario. Dollar index is bouncing, retracing a little bit. I would say that it's going to come back up a little bit before testing lower. So no, so I'll do that one. Okay, I'll do that one. Sitting right there. Okay, so looking, it might test 1980 or above 1985 to 1992. Let me think about that one. Consolidate, breakdown. No, I'm going to look for it to bounce off 1980. Okay, so gold, I'm going to think that it's going to could retest, could test 1980 and bounce to 1992. Any thoughts on whether gold is a reliable hedge against inflation? Well, it's always been considered as a reliable hedge against inflation. You're welcome, Goju. I'm just looking at why is the dollar retracing a little bit more than I expect. Is it because of this news? Not so much, but it's just sitting right there. Still looking at the downside. Okay, so long as the dollar holds below that resistance, if it holds if it breaks past the resistance of 105.30, okay, so this is the view on the dollar. If it breaks 105, you can see that. If 105.30 broken, possible up, I wouldn't say uptrend, but possible bigger move higher. You know what I mean, right? So if it goes up, if it breaks above that resistance, then we could see it continue back up. So that's the level that we're watching out for. But most likely, I'm looking for it to break down from 105 to head towards 104.50 to 104.70. Okay, So that's the view. That's the view on the dollar and all the other pairs. It is 4 as a new hour. You see that pushing back down a little bit, so I'm looking for it to test 1980. Kiwi dollar sitting right across, not formed a direction yet. Aussie dollar looking like that retrace and bounce, so we're still on track for that. Yen looking for it to test 150 maybe, or around that level. Pound dollar retracing a little bit. Euro dollar holding that resistance. Maybe a little bit of a deeper, that might actually happen a little bit earlier. Just thinking with that, we thought of the euro as a possible counter trend. Could that happen? Right? And could come down to that support and bounce back up. So you have a couple of scenarios there on the euro dollar, but I'm still looking for that move. I don't see it retracing. I don't see the euro dollar doing a big counter. So I'm still looking for that, most likely at 107.50, which is about there. No, I see it doing that. I see that happening on the euro dollar. Sweezy, yes, retrace a bit, but still looking at the downside. That one I think most likely is to the down, but we have an opportunity for a counter. Dollar index is consolidating at 105, still looking for the downside. Alrighty, so with that, again, please remember that the link is there for the Discord channel. Do make sure you join if you haven't already. And I'll see you all on Discord. And if not, then I'll see you all tomorrow, same time, same place. Take care now. Please trade well, trade safe. Take care now. Bye bye.